In this video, you'll see a tutor and learner learn about and try using a journal of good things, a specific kind of journal well suited to adult literacy tutoring. A journal of good things is a spin on what's commonly called a gratitude journal. In a journal of good things, a learner writes about something good they did, or something good that someone said to them or did for them. Having this focus removes the obstacle of facing a blank page in search of a topic. It also contributes to a peaceful, positive learning environment. Tutors and learners may or may not decide to share journal entries with each other. If they do share, a journal of good things allows them to get to know each other better and strengthen the rapport that is fundamental to successful tutoring.
Hey, Darcy.
Hi, how are you today?
Oh, it's a new day. It's pretty good. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing really well.
All
really
right.
well.
You know how last week we started, we were talking about journals?
Right.
And this week, I was thinking we could try out another kind of journal that's a little bit different.
Okay.
What do you think some key pieces of journals are?
Just talking about our life and just kind of that open way of just, communicating with ourselves, because that's what struck me. This is for me to kind of go back and look at my life and look at what I was doing, and I don't really have to share that with anybody that I don't want to.
Right, exactly. And I think that sometimes when we think of a journal, we think of a diary as a journal. And, you're like, dear diary, here's my most secret thoughts that no one else will ever see. And so that is a kind of journal. And so with our dialogue journal, that is more of a conversation.
Right.
So it's actually kind of a social journal, which is different, right?
Right.
And today we're going to try another type of journal. And I made a bunch of copies of what it is inside this binder, so it's all in the same place. A journal of good things.
All right.
And it's a little bit of a play on something called a gratitude journal. And in a gratitude journal, you write down things that you feel gratitude, that you're grateful for.
Okay.
And this kind of journal, it's called the Journal of Good Things. This says, write about something good you did these past few days, or write about a good thing someone said to you or did for you. You can underline hard to spell words, but just keep on writing.
Okay.
And the reason for a journal of good things is this. A lot of times we're out in the world and there's so many struggles and there's so many things that can be difficult or just kind of tricky, or you have to be expending energy to kind of deal with. And it can be nice to be able to kind of shut out the world and really focus on what you have control over, and to be able to maybe reset your frame of mind. I like to do this because it's not asking me what's horrible about life or what's really hard or what made me sad this week, but instead it's kind of sifting through information and really saying, in my corner of the world, in my life, I can point to some really good things, and it kind of helps my mood. So I think this kind of journal, you could say, is good for a person's mood or outlook.
Yeah.
And I'm curious what you might think about it. Does anything strike you so far?
Well, I know in the past when we talked about gratitude lists and these kinds of things, that just on my drive home, I drive by so many people that don't have a place to stay. And then I get home and there's my shabby little apartment, and and it's easy to feel kind of like, I wish I had a bigger house. I wish. Right. But you know what? I have a roof over my head. I have plenty of food in the refrigerator. I'm good for today. I have enough money to pay my rent. I'm good.
Yeah.
There's so many other things that people just don't have.
Yeah.
And I'm really blessed to have what I have, and to be able to support myself and work with people like you in the programs like the Alameda Reads program and this kind of stuff.
right. Well, it sounds like you already have that shift that you do pretty well, from thinking about what's not right to
what I don't have.
Exactly.
And look at all the things that I do have.
I know. Because, boy, yeah.
Because it will get overwhelming for me if I start thinking about, things I don't have.
Yeah. Yeah. The list is long for us. And then we can shift it.
We forget to look.
Exactly.
Forget to look at all the positive things we have in our life.
Yeah. So this is a chance to put those things on paper. And maybe sometimes if you're feeling down in the dumps, and if I'm feeling like, yes, things are so sad, then you can look back, because we've dated all the entries, and it's like, oh, that's right. Just kind of a shift of perspective. I think that's worth a lot, and we can give it a try. And you know what else, Darcy?
Yeah.
When we try stuff like this, it's really, I think what I really like about tutoring is you can try anything, and you can try everything. And if something works, great. And if it doesn't, out the window it goes. Life is short.
I like that because there's no pressure.
Right.
There's no pressure on me to fight and try to do this one thing. If it doesn't work, let's try the next thing.
Exactly.
I love it.
Me too. So I'm going to open this up so I can have a copy. And the reason is, while we're sitting together and we're writing, instead of having you get out a pen, a pencil, and then me go like this and twiddle my thumbs and look at you and kind of make a situation awkward, I'll be doing writing myself, because we are both writers and we both have things to write about, and we're in it together. So let's give it an entry, the Journal of Good Things. And for this strategy, basically, the first step is to always date the work that we do.
Okay.
We can go back and see what we were thinking at a certain period of time, when something happened. It's like a little memory supplement. And for this particular journal, once again, it's all about ideas. It's all about our thoughts and feelings, and spelling, sentence structure, grammar. That's for a different part of our lesson, which we do practice quite a lot, but not while we're doing journal stuff. Okay?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So what do you think you'll do if you come across a word that you want to use that you can't spell?
Well, last time you said I should underline them so we could go back and I can learn up to spell that word later, or we try another strategy later on. But I'm not going to stop today, because I want to, just like you said, just keep writing, and we're going to just do the best I can with that.
Absolutely. Said beautifully. All right, Darcy, so do you like to write with pencil or pen, or do you have a preference?
I used to like only pens, but I started to like pencils recently.
Okay, me too. I never liked them, but now I'm into pencils. So let's just jot down one idea, and we'll see how it goes. You have a lot of good things going on. It went clear off the page. How did this go for you?
Well, it made me really stop and think. I had to stop and think just about what is going on in my life and just all the different parts of it. And, it's easy just to kind of gloss right over in these things, just day-to-day life and blah, 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 whatever.
Yeah.
But to stop and think and really okay, this is what happened. Should I read you what I got?
If you'd like to. Can I say something
Yeah.
first? It was very hard for me to think of something good. Isn't that weird?
You seem like such a positive person, right?
And I'm like, But then, it turns out actually so many little things happen that are good.
Right.
So
And it
it's
makes
nice
you
to
stop
pay
and think,
attention.
right?
Yeah, it makes
really
you
does.
stop and think. So this is the kind of journal where we can share, if you'd like to share what you wrote, and you don't have to share either. And so that option is always open for us. And so if you'd like to share it, I'd love to hear it.
Okay.
And if not, I can share mine too. But however you want to play it. It's up
Okay.
to you.
Well, I mentioned I joined a softball team,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So that's what I wrote about.
That's
I joined a
exciting.
softball team. We had our first practice last weekend. The manager said we all need to chip in for league fees, and I was afraid because I don't have a lot of money for fees and equipment. So I talked to the manager afterwards. He told me not to worry, that I can just pay what I can. No one will be turned away.
Cool.
And I'm so grateful for that, because otherwise I don't think I could have played.
Well, I'm so glad you asked, because it's like, yeah, people want you to play.
Right,
People want you
and they
to
did bring
join.
it up. If anybody's having a hard time, please bring it
Yeah.
up. And and I'm like, whew, thank goodness, because I wouldn't have made it. I couldn't
Yeah.
afford the cleats and the
Yeah, that-
glove and all the other stuff that you got to buy,
Yeah.
the uniform and whatnot.
Well, they're good people everywhere, huh?
Right?
Is it a nice group?
It is. They're really nice people, and it's a co-ed group, and so it's kind of exciting. And I was really glad to get out there and get to goof off with these guys.
All right.
Right?
That's cool.
Toss the ball around and just have some fun.
All right. I just read about. I'll just read it
Okay.
because I'm happy to share
All right.
mine too. Something very sweet happened this week. My friend came over with her 2 adorable dogs, and she brought me some fabulous homemade bread. So we drank tea and ate toast with butter. I love having friends who can just drop in. It's something I love about my neighborhood. And
That's
it's
nice.
kind of it's very dog oriented too. Like, we have this whole routine of people who come by and we know them, and you just make a bunch of friends that way. So
That's nice.
so Darcy, are there any, we're not worried about spelling here, but I do want to make sure that if there are any words that you'd like me to spell out, I'll do it here in our notebook.
Okay.
And, you can have them, and we can practice these words. We're not going to go back and correct a journal, though, because
Okay.
it's just not for that. So are there any particular words that you'd like to...
Well, I think there's some that I know I spelled wrong. There might be some I don't even know I spelled wrong.
Yeah, would you underline?
I did. I underlined afraid.
Okay.
I underlined a league.
Okay, and that's one, I might look at
That's
myself,
kind
because
of
it's
a
kind
weird
of
one.
tricky.
That's a weird one.
I think it might have a GUE, but it always looks weird.
Equipment.
Ooh, nice. These are
And
nice, challenging words.
And I think I spelled manager right, but this one looks like it has 2 A's in there, so that's probably not. Or maybe it's 3 A's. I can't tell.
Manager. Well, guess what? There's a man and a manager. What? Okay. So we'll look at these later.
Okay.
And that is, this is a journal of good things. Is it something that you'd like to do again, or did you enjoy it, or what are your thoughts about how? Let me ask it this way.
Okay.
Does this have any impact on your writing? How do you feel about this strategy?
Well, last week I know you talked about kind of building a muscle, and I could start to feel that in my hand as I'm writing. I
Yeah.
can start to feel that, yeah, it's actually, there's some muscle work going on in there. But it's more than that, too. Like you said, it's just, just keeping track of that daily life. And I can see that being interesting. I might try this on an ongoing basis, I think.
Okay. I think we can do is maybe this is something that we'll take home.
Okay.
And we can bring it back next week. And if we want, and when I say that, it's like if you would like to include it as part of our lesson, we can. Or if you would like to take this home and try it as a solo experiment for a while, we can do that too. And we don't know the answer yet.
Right.
We'll see what happens
Okay.
next week, okay?
All right. I'm excited to try that. I'm willing to give it a go.
Well, thanks for being game for all of this.
Absolutely.
All right, Darcy, I'll see you next week, okay?
Thank you so much.
Have fun.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
You've just seen a tutor and learner talk about the benefits of journal writing and discuss and create a journal of good things. Keeping a journal can bring about a powerful shift in helping learners recognize themselves as writers.